embouchure. The embouchure is the muscles around the mouth, and for brass musicians, it is how the mouthpiece meets the face. I like to not only examine the simple aspects of the mouthpiece contact points, but try to think of the whole system that connects the air to the buzz. It is a dynamic system that changes with the needs of the music, and therefore great care should be spent in creating an embouchure that is strong and stable, but also has the ability to make the most subtle of changes. It should be obvious that everyone is unique in appearance, and we will see that embouchures will vary depending on facial structure. As a guiding principle concerning embouchures, I always ask the question, is this working towards or limiting the player's musicianship? If the embouchure is working towards quality music making, then don't try to change it simply to get a more textbook look. That being said, in most cases, the strongest and most flexible embouchures are centered on the face from left to right and positioned with more top lip than bottom lip, usually around 2/3 top lip and 1/3 bottom lip. A trick to get us started in placement and formation is by using a drinking straw. By sucking on a straw, we can see the natural function of the muscles around the mouth. The muscle directly around the mouth is called the orbicularis oris. And when sucking on the straw, it is round and in its most strong and supportive position. The corners of the mouth come forward and the chin pulls downward. The two corners and the chin can be thought of as the three focal points of the embouchure. We want to avoid the corners pulling back, which will pull the chin up, resulting in a pinched and thin sound. But instead, keep the corners forward and the chin down, promoting an open oral cavity. Now, let's include the mouthpiece and consider its placement. As we suck on the straw, slide the mouthpiece over the end and you will have the mouthpiece perfectly centered on the embouchure. Another element to look for in mouthpiece placement is the angle of the shank. This is the shank of the mouthpiece. And when we add the tuba, the angle of the lead pipe. There should be a slight downward angle. This is one of the best ways to see early embouchure problems that can result in long-term playing problems and physical concerns. The jaw works most comfortably as a hinge, and as we open the mouth, the bottom teeth will recede from being in line with the top teeth. If the player does not allow for the mouthpiece to angle downward as the mouth opens, they will need to thrust the jaw forward to maintain contact. This motion is a contributing factor to TMJ disorder, and I encourage you to look for this problem early to prevent long-term harm to the temporomandibular joint. I encourage you to check out my video on posture to connect the ideas here about mouthpiece angle and how that connects to the tuba positioning. As I stated before, the embouchure is a dynamic system and changes depending on the needs of the music. Our embouchure is positioned to have a slight downward angle to the air, but the angle will change with range. As we play higher, the angle is more steeply downward. As we play lower, the angle of the air flattens out. I try not to lead these adjustments from the muscles of the face, but think more of them resulting from the position of the tongue and even the openness of the throat. In the lower register, using an O syllable, the tongue is low and air comes more directly into the aperture of the lips. Moving higher, we incorporate more of an ah syllable and the tongue arches, creating a more downward angle. The embouchure adjusts with the shape of the oral cavity and it affects the fluidity of movement through ranges, as well as tone quality production. The embouchure is hard to see, both for students and their teachers. Make sure you have access to a mirror and use it often. Also, keep your tuba shiny so that you can glance over at your reflection while you play. I also use a mouthpiece rim and a clear mouthpiece to examine what the embouchure is doing for my students. Strengthening the embouchure should be an everyday experience. The best exercises include using long tones for stability and lip slurs for flexibility. I encourage you to establish an intentional routine that utilizes these exercises. My warm-up routine is available for free on my website. It relies on the materials of the great pedagogues throughout low brass history, and perhaps the only thing that I have contributed is how they are sequenced. I use buzzing on the mouthpiece as an important tool for students of all stages of development and encourage advanced players to buzz on a mouthpiece rim and to free buzz. These exercises require detailed observation and understanding of what the purpose of the exercise is. Much of what is done in buzzing exercises is more dependent on the function of the air rather than the embouchure. Thinking of these exercises as developing embouchure strength rather than fine-tuning the embouchure is essential. Remember that all things in moderation is good advice, and our best exercise will target multiple fundamentals simultaneously. Thanks for watching.